Welcome everyone to Midwest Tree ID. On this channel, it is my mission to help you learn an abundance of trees that grow right here in the Midwest, and some key features on how to identify them. There's just one thing to clarify before we begin. We're not going to be throwing hatred or ridiculing any of the species that we're going to be talking about. But we do, however, want to encourage thoughtful conversation in the comments about personal experiences and things like that. Please try to remember that everything has value and that we are here to enjoy nature and everything it has to offer. So without anything else, let's jump right in. Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we're on the backside of Heritage Park in Champaign, Illinois, and we are talking about Acer negundo, the box elder. And this is one of our few maples that is going to have a compound leaf. And here are those compound leaves. They can often be mistaken for poison ivy if you do see them in the woods, because they are very common to find in the woods. And typically the leaves are going to have about 5, maybe even 7 in some cases, leaflets. And these leaflets are almost semi-lobed. As you can kind of see, there's like a little lobe here, but then there's a lot of serrations around the edges of each leaflet. And that's going to be pretty consistent, but they do look a lot like poison ivy sometimes when you're seeing them in the woods or just seedlings on the ground. One of the things, as the seedlings get a little bit older, or as the growth gets a little bit older, it kind of looks a little bit contorted on the outermost edges of the leaf or the stem, and just kind of look underdeveloped. Box elder is kind of a wild looking, kind of ratty. It's not real common to find in the landscape due to prolificacy and heavy seed production. And one of the key features about this versus a lot of other maples is this is actually dioecious, which means there are separate male and female specimens. And the seed on the female trees typically hang down and look almost like an upside down peace sign, I guess, is kind of what it looks like. And then they, just like other maples, they disperse. They look just like the helicopters that you see flying around, the helicopter seeds that nobody seems to want in their gutters. And so now let's go ahead and take a look at the bark and the habit. So bark on the box elder is going to be very, very, I'll say consistent, light, kind of narrow, shallow fissures, really strongly resembling ash, even Norway maple, or even tulip tree a little bit, is very strongly resembling ash. And as you kind of look up in there, you would easily think that this could be an ash tree. And it's very broad like an ash as well. And the base of this one here is very large for a box elder. So box elder can be quite dense, especially on nicer specimens like this one here. This one is extremely dense, very similar to that of a Norway maple. In fact, box elder is going to be one of the first, the earliest maples to leaf out in the spring. And they can even be a little bit hard to distinguish from a Norway maple in the early parts of the season, because they both are leafing out typically around the same time. Both have similar bark, both have similar kind of rounded shapes, a little bit irregular shape. And this is really, really a nice specimen right here. I would love to have this one in a landscape in general, but box elder is not typically one you're going to find in a landscape. So as I said earlier, box elder is not one that you're typically going to find in most of your nurseries, not something you're going to find often in a landscape as a yard specimen. It's very, very uncommon to find. You might find it as a weed in some of your yards and landscapes, but typically it's something that you're going to find in the woods, especially near river bottoms. They like water, and they can, like I said, they can be very, very prolific in the landscape when they are present, but they can still form into very nice specimens. And there have been some decent cultivars that have come out of the woodwork over the last few years. And one of the special interests of box elder is it does have some lumber. It does have some lumber quality. Its heartwood is almost a burgundy or maroon color. I'll show some pictures, mainly pictures that I find on Google. I'll show some pictures of that at the end of the video. But that's really going to be one of the better uses for box elder. It's not really the nicest landscape tree, but it can certainly be nice when they're allowed to be. So thanks for joining me. Be sure to like and subscribe, and we will see you guys next time.